Hey, welcome to our live broadcast. Today is Wednesday, and today we are going to be talking about how to go from a diet desperation to diet determination. Welcome if you're joining us live, and also welcome if you're joining us on the rebroadcast. As always, I ask that you take a second to hit that like button or subscribe button so you will be notified when we go live and or post content to these platforms, and that also makes you an official member of our community, which we love all of our community members here in Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman. If you are new to this community, I always like to take a second to introduce myself. My name is Diane, and for the past 25 years or so, I have been helping women find nutrition plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best and live their most authentic life. And here in this community, we are doing that through the practice of intermittent fasting and living a keto-like lifestyle. As you're jumping on with us in the live broadcast, or if you're joining us in the rebroadcast, please take a second to hit me up in that comment section. Let me know that you are here. Let me know if you are practicing intermittent fasting or living a keto-like lifestyle. And I always ask that if you have been a member of one of our courses or are about to join one of our courses, let me know that as well. At the end of this broadcast, I welcome everyone and answer questions and comments. So today we are going to talk about how to go from diet desperation to diet determination, and I'm going to give you 4 simple steps to help you make that transition. So we all know about the diet pitfalls and the ups and downs of dieting, and a lot of that is set up through that desperation mentality. And I know through the course of my many years of working in this industry and specifically working with women, the one thing that I often hear is, this is the last thing that I'm going to try because everything else has failed for me. And that is really what the diet industry has kind of become popular for, is the diet pitfalls and the many failures that we have all suffered. And hopefully these 4 tips that I'm going to share with you today will help you kind of get out of that mentality and into that determination of really being successful with what you want to do nutritionally. So the first thing we have to consider are all the restrictions that are encompassing a diet desperation type of mentality. And the first one is, all of the things that we need to remove from our life, or we're not allowed to participate in or partake in or consume anymore because it's not part of the master plan. And that's one of the big problems with the diet mentality, is we jump into it very open and very vulnerable and very willing to follow someone else's plan that worked really well for them, or maybe the 10 or 15 people that they experimented with to prove that their theory or philosophy works. And all of those restrictions are really short-lived. There's no way that we can live a diet mentality or follow someone else's predetermined plan or way of eating in the long term, because it's not designed for us. And those restrictions and all of those things that we have to give up, and that limiting belief of this is the only way we're going to be able to be successful, really wears on us. And it is definitely a short-term thing. And if we try to live it out in the long term, what we usually end up doing is feeling very deprived and very lonely a lot of times, and very helpless. And that's not a really good way for us to live our lives. And it's definitely not a way to live our lives authentically. And that really is the way we should be living, very authentically, and determining for ourselves what it is we want to have for our life nutritionally, and what we want for our life to make us happy. And we know through a lot of the discussions that we've had here that there's no escaping food, and there's no escaping the nutrition that we need to live and look and feel our best, and really be authentic in how we're choosing to live our life. And so when we have too many restrictions on that, we really aren't able to do those kind of things. So the first thing we want to make sure we keep an eye on when we're entering in something new nutritionally is it a diet desperation attempt, or is it something that's going to help us nutritionally finally be successful? And the first thing we want to look at is how many restrictions are involved. And if there's too many, then it's really not something that we want to partake on, because we will become desperate and we want to become determined. So remove restrictions. The second thing is eliminate an end date. There is no end date that's required for living your most authentic life around food, that's going to sustain what it is that you want to have for yourself, and that really should be looking and feeling your best. Because if you're looking your best and you're feeling your best, you are going to be your best. And there's no end date to that. And oftentimes what happens when we're in the desperate diet mentality is we are so excited about that end date, and we have that end in mind, and we have these fantasies because we're probably having our emotional strings being pulled on with before and after pictures, and yes, testimonials. And we share testimonials here as well. I always say, when you're reading a testimonial or you're looking at a before and after picture, think about how that applies to you. Is that something that you're suffering with? Is that something that you're struggling with? And does that person sound and look like something that you can honestly see yourself becoming? And if that is something that you see yourself as in their testimonial or their after picture, then yes, that might be something that you want to give a go to. But be very careful about an end date, a 21-day challenge, a 60-day commitment, a 90-day nutrition overhaul. Those kind of things are triggers to us. And they're used very specifically in the diet marketing world because we think to ourselves, in only 90 days, I can go from that to that. And the reality is probably not, unless it is, of course, you are adding in all those restrictions and eliminating all of the things in your life that probably make you really happy, and just dwindling everything in your life down to the bare minimums. And I know that because I've been there myself. I've done the 21-day things, I've done the 90-day things, I've done the 60-day things, I've done the 2-week things. And those results last for about a hot second. And as soon as you're released, which is usually happens when you get to that end date, you're released from those commitments, you tend to go back to your old habits, or you tend to go back to your old things that you've been so deprived of for so long. And we end up creating sort of that binge purge mentality of dieting and that diet cycle, or we go from that fit to fat to fit type of person, where we are doing everything we can to be fit, and then we stop doing those things, and then we go back to the fat, and then we do whatever we have to get back to fit, and then we go back to fat. And it's that yo-yo thing that we don't consider when we drive everything to a specific date, and then we just throw everything out the window because we have achieved our goals and there's nothing else to drive through, unless you find yourself another 21-day or 90-day or 60-day thing that you can commit to. And then again, you're always going to be on chasing some end date, and you're not going to be able to live your life authentically and with some consistency. So the second thing is we want to eliminate the end date. The third thing that we want to really start doing if we want to end the diet desperation is we need to start thinking for ourselves. We need to start making decisions for ourselves based on our bodies and what it is we want for ourselves. And we need to stop relying on or depending on someone to think for us. That right there is a very lazy way to start something that should really demand your personal attention and your energy. And when we go into things and we don't think about it, and we just go robotically and we do whatever it takes to get to that end result, and we stop thinking for ourselves, we also stop listening to the signs and signals that our body is sending us. And that's when we really start to get into trouble, because we don't feel the things that are going wrong, and we're not seeing the things that are going wrong for us. We're driving to that end date. We're driving to that emotional trigger that got us in that diet desperation in the first place, and we stop thinking. And when we stop thinking about all things. And we really can get ourselves into that place where, when we're left to think for ourselves, we don't know what to do, and we don't know how to care for ourselves, and we don't know how to make those common sense nutritional decisions because we don't have anybody telling us what to do. It is no different than raising a child that has no boundaries or no responsibilities, and then you send them off into the world and they have no means to take care of themselves. We often do that in the diet and the nutrition and the exercise industries because there's always someone who's there who's willing to take away the right that we have to think for ourselves and force feed us their philosophy so that they have something to justify what it is that they're doing. And we need to uncover those things and really think about some things that people are saying, because we always want to research and we always want to listen to advice and we always want to take in some new philosophies, but then we have to stop and we have to pause and we have to think for ourselves. Don't go into anything blindly. If someone's telling you that you have to absolutely do XYZ, or you're not allowed to participate, or you're not going to be successful if you don't do those things, then I would really question what it is you're about to embark on. What you really want to look for when you're trying to make some changes like this, nutritionally or fitness wise, especially when you're looking for things that are going to hopefully change the quality of life in which you're living in, you really want someone that's going to allow you the opportunity to think for yourself and ask you the questions like, why do you want to do that? Or why is that important to you? Or I don't know, you should give that a try. Those are the kind of questions that you really want someone to come back at you with when they are sharing what it is that they're sharing with you about making some lifestyle changes. So you want to make sure you are thinking for yourself when you're trying to exit out of that diet desperation mode. And then the fourth tip I have for you to get from diet desperation to diet determination is, if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. We don't have to go any farther than our own gut instinct. So when you're looking at a diet plan or you're looking at a fitness program and your gut is telling you that that just doesn't make sense, irregardless of what the before and after pictures are or the promises that someone is making you, it just doesn't make sense. That whole lemon, cayenne, agave, whatever drink we drank back a few years ago, that everyone was doing to do some sort of like fast or whatever, was crazy. That Atkins diet, from some aspects, was crazy when you really think about what it is that people were doing on the Atkins diet to lose weight. So we have to always consider those things. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. If it's not something that you can fully live out day after day after day while maintaining some normalcy in your life with your family and some normalcy with what you have with your social life, and doing the things that bring you pure joy while you're trying to make improvements in your nutrition and your fitness, those things don't make sense. And we really have to make sure that we're pausing on those things as well and considering why it is we would want to do something that's going to completely take us out of what a normal life looks like. And a normal life should be something that seems balanced and will allow you the opportunity to be a normal person while you're making improvements in your health and your wellness. So the 4 tips that I have for you guys today to take you from diet desperation to diet determination are: remove restrictions, eliminate the end date, think for yourself, and if it seems like it is not making sense to you, then trust me, it's not making sense to you. And there's something magical that happens to us emotionally and mentally when we factor in those 4 things that I just shared with you. When we think for ourselves and we're doing things that make sense and we're eliminating all of the restrictions and we take an end date out of it, we can actually start to set very realistic goals for ourselves that we can own. And we own the goals that we're setting for ourselves, that's when determination kicks in. That's when, no matter what, we are going to hit our goals. And no matter what, we're going to do the things that make us feel better. And no matter what, we're only going to put things in our body that are going to send us signs and signals that those are the things that our body likes. And no matter what, we are going to make sure that we are setting ourselves up to look and feel our best and live our most authentic life. And we're going to exit out of desperation, and we're going to naturally fall into a place where we are finally going to be determined to figure this whole crazy food thing out and make and create a lifestyle that we can sustain with no end date in sight. So I hope that helps you if you're feeling like you're at your wit's end, or you're at that place where no matter what, this is the last thing that I'm going to try. I want you to consider the 4 things that I shared with you today and think about how you're feeling about what you're supposed to be doing in your nutrition window. And if you're feeling desperate, I want you to think about some simple steps that you can make to switch your desperation to determination and finally get you into that place where you're feeling successful and you have everything in your life that you need to have to be happy and authentic. So I'm going to take a second to welcome everyone who's joined us today. I'm going to start with YouTube. Facebook, hold on for just a second and I'll try to turn so you guys don't get a full face of me there in my camera on Facebook. Let's see, Jill, glad you can relate to this. I can relate to it myself. I always love talking about these things that are so very simple and very everyday for us women, and we often don't really know how to start the conversation. So I'm glad that helped you out today. Amy from the April class, tweaking things since I'm maintaining my weight but feel so scared, trying to have a bit more freedom to make life easier with family. Yeah, girlfriend Amy, it's all about what I always say, it's time and consistency and tweaking. And when you are really, when you're not in that desperate mode and you're really determined, determination will always take you farther than desperation ever will. So when you're trying to change things up and you're adding in some experimenting, what you have to go into that with is a very open mind. And trust me, there are some things that we've experimented with food-wise in our house that went from the oven to the trash can. They just didn't work out for us. And that's okay. You have to be willing to fail forward a little bit and stretch things out and try some new things. And then if they don't work, they just don't work. It's not going to be anything that's going to be devastating. You go back to what you know, and then when you're in a new place to try something new, you try something new. Some of the most amazing things that we've created in our kitchen, in our house, have been pure experiments and would probably be considered accidents that just turned out well. And we've had way more things turn out well for us than we've had things that not turn out so well for us. And that's just the art of opening up your mind and trying some new things and really being able to think for yourself. So I say go for it. And the things that you try that don't work, I think you just laugh off and then get back to the drawing board for sure. And keep us posted, because the things that you find that work for you, Amy, share them with us so that we can start incorporating them too. Lisa from New Mexico, good to have you here. Leah from the graduate from the April and May course, love having you here. Christine, good to see you, girlfriend. Bridget, good to have you with us. Linda, I lost YouTube connections, so I'm here. Oh, good, you're on YouTube, so glad to have you back. Alumni, and I signed up for the level 2 course. I'm so looking forward to continuing along this path. Yeah, we're looking forward to the level 2 course with you too. Then I think it's Berna. I think it was the last one in there. Awesome, good to have you here. And then Denise from New York. Welcome, you guys. Love having you here on YouTube. And then let me see what I got going on here over on Facebook. Lots of comments. Yes, I love it. Let's see what we got going on over here. Okay, so Barb, good to have you here. First one on Facebook. Congratulations. Janet, good afternoon. Good to have you here. Alumni member and signed up for the level 2 course, so looking forward to it. Linda, we're super excited too. Jenny from the January course, also need a reboot, looking forward to the tips. Awesome. Yeah, you know, I'm always doing new things and I'm always switching things around, and that's what I think I love so much about this type of lifestyle, is you really do have the flexibility and the freedom to play around with it, because you're figuring it out for yourself. You don't have a blueprint that you've printed off, you know, the printer from someone else. There's no rules, there's no real guidelines other than you making decisions for you that make you look and feel your best while living your most authentic life. And that is the most freeing thing, and the biggest gift I think we can give ourselves is to really live in the present and live with what makes us happy. There's so much information out there nutritionally that we really do know the difference between what makes us feel our best and look our best and what doesn't. And I know conveniently we try to pretend like we don't sometimes. I know I do that myself, but we know basically what good nutritionally dense food is, and we know what isn't. So once we kind of start just going through the motions of of figuring those things out for ourselves and then getting to that point where we actually feel good, it's so much easier to make better choices. But we have to do the work on the front end to get to that good feeling so we can really make those good choices for ourselves and then be happy with those choices. And I know, and we're going to share a lot of this in the level 2 course, what I'm healing. So, healed and healing are really two different approaches to this lifestyle. And that's really what I want to share with you guys a lot in the level 2 course. You have to get to the healed part first, though. So you have to go through those beginner steps and really understand what specific foods are doing for you. And you have to really understand what it's like to be in that clean, fasted state. And you have to figure out a good, solid feasting window for yourself. You have to have the foundation with time and consistency there. And then I can share with you guys what it is that we're doing to make the changes that we need to make for that level 2. And that's really where you can start building in some extra freedoms, but you have to have that basis there first. So the level 2 course is going to be great. Dawn, good to have you here with us. Rita, nice to have you. Tanya, on the road to New Mexico. Still caught you live. Awesome. So good to have you with us on the road. Ashley, I am 26 and new to IF. I only fast about 1 to 2 times a week due to my crazy night shift schedule. Even those crazy days a week have made a huge difference in my digestion and inflammation. Yeah, that's what intermittent fasting will do for you. I appreciate all your videos and the education I'm receiving. Thank you for all you do. Oh, Ashley, thank you for being here with us. I love having a nice span of age ranges in this community here and the willingness for you guys to share with us what you're going through. And what that just proves is that intermittent fasting and really figuring out and dialing in good solid nutrition for you can help you at any age. This lifestyle and way of living is not age discriminating in any way. Young women can do it, middle-aged women can do it, postmenopausal women can do it. It doesn't really matter what age group you're in. What matters is that you're figuring your body out. And I think that the more younger women we have jumping on this with us will really help us age well and will really show the example of what taking control of our nutritional life can really do for us and how it can benefit us as we go through the aging process. And I'm really excited for even my own kids and the way that they're looking at food and the way that they're looking at their life. And I love when my son comes back from the gym and shares with us how he just worked out in a fasted state and how amazing he feels. And my daughter the same way, like she gets so excited about what she's going to be doing in track and field and next year for school, and we're going to teach her how to do that all clean fasted and help her stay more keto like even at 12, because we know that the research is there to show that that's just a healthier way to live. And we talked on Monday about the movie The Magic Pill. And again, like anytime you watch any of those documentaries, always go into it with kind of like an open ear and an open mind, and take one thing away from documentaries or research articles that you're reading, of one thing that you can immediately incorporate into your life that makes sense. And so what my husband and I took away from The Magic Pill, the biggest aha moment we had was, wow, if we can incorporate moderate fasting and moderate keto-like living in our household and do some things to not damage our brains anymore or not damage our kids' brains, and we can do it very moderately, what a great gift we would give for our kids. And so that's really the one aha moment that we took away from The Magic Pill, and what we're going to really start incorporating in our life here in our house is how can we help our kids and how can we make sure that their brain is functioning at its best because of all of the stresses that they have in their lives and the demands that they have at school and stuff. And so we're really going to start making sure that when we fuel Gabby's body for what she's going to be doing in track and field, that we give her the best opportunity to function at her best on the field and off the field. And that's really what I strongly encourage you guys to do when you're on your research journey, is find those 1 or 2 things that seem like they make sense and that you can subtly incorporate in your life without having a bunch of uprests with your family, and just see how they work for you and experiment and then tweak them to meet your family's needs. And that's what the beauty of all this lifestyle really is, and has shown to be for so many people. Sandy, graduate. Looking forward to the F3 course in June. Yeah, you're going from May to June, girlfriend. You're going right in. It's going to be great. Rita, hello. Jillian, I have been keto for a year and IF since September. I'm finally starting to see great results. I'm seeing my belly fat shrink. Yay! No more binging. That's awesome. It's taken time to get to know my body and what it needs. But Dianna Parham, you've certainly helped me understand how to work with my own body and think for myself. Jillian, I love that you said that. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I've learned myself. And what I love is when people share how they've been keto for a very long time, but it wasn't until they incorporated keto with intermittent fasting that they really started seeing some results. And what I think the big aha moment for the combination of things that we're sharing here in this group with intermittent fasting and a keto-like lifestyle is when you start incorporating intermittent fasting, that's when you really find your flexibility in your feasting window, and you don't have to be so regimented to being ketogenic strictly. And fasting really has shown us that we can really become keto and fat adaptive so much faster and so much easier. And when you're keto and fat adaptive is really when you gain that extra window of flexibility, because you don't have to be so regimented, but you can still reap all the amazing benefits. And that's really what we emphasize in our intermittent fasting for today's Aging Women course, is like, get that foundation, get your body to click over to being really fat and keto adaptive, and then you can start building in some of that flexibility so you're not living your life so limited or desperate as in that diet mentality that we talked about today. Jillian, let's see, I saw your comment came by twice. Erica, May grad and just signed up again in June. Looking forward to spending more time with you, the group, and participating in my new lifestyle. Erica, we love having you as a repeat course member. Thank you so much for jumping on. It's that second time through that transitional course for a lot of women that they say really did make everything very foundational for them. And I always describe the first course because it's quick. I mean, it's 3 weeks, but it's all the information that you need to really adapt this lifestyle. You go through the first time sort of like a deer in the headlights because so much is changing in your body so quickly. And then when you go through the transitional course, what's amazing is how you really settle into it, and then you start to be the teacher as well, which I always love to see you guys step up and teach other course members. When you teach someone else something, or you can help them understand something, that's a true sign that you understand it yourself. And so doing that transitional course is really a nice way to cement everything we've learned, practice it, and then create some finesse for yourself while you're still in a course environment. So if something doesn't go the way you planned, you still have the love and support of us to help get you back on track. Joy, good to have you here. Let's see, Beth, nice to have you here from Austin, just down the road. Monica, thanks for solid advice, encouraging us to think for ourselves. Yep, for sure. Donna, I am staying under 150 and every day 146, which is fine for me. I eat my big almond with onion, green pepper, and mushrooms for lunch, and maybe a piece of bacon or ham. Keeps me going until 2:30 or 3 when I get a good dinner, and then I'm done for the day. My dessert is 5 frozen strawberries. Yeah, Donna, you've definitely figured out your way that works best for you, and that's great. You've done some great things for yourself. Let me jump over here really quick on YouTube and see if anybody else is here, and then we will probably call it a day. Let's see. Denise, I got, yeah, Tracy, it's like you are in my mood today. Just freaked me out. So in the front of desperation right now, moved away from my kids, living in a basement, etc. Love y'all for this. I mean, I don't know if I read that right. I think you're in my mood today. Just freaked me out. So in front of desperation right now, moved away from the kids, living in my basement. Yeah, Tracy, sometimes when you're feeling desperate, the best thing I always suggest to do is just pause and take a deep breath. There's something about pausing and just taking a nice deep cleansing breath that really does help you settle in to whatever you have going on in your life. And life just puts us in different seasons, and sometimes those seasons aren't planned. But the best thing to do is to stay the course for you and what's best for you, and don't do anything, don't make any decisions, don't put yourself in a position where desperation is going to prevail, because the other side of desperation is usually not what we're really shooting for in the first place. And I think if you can change your desperate feelings to determination, you're going to see that the other side of determination is usually a better place to end up. So just take some deep breaths and pause and think about some things before you make too many decisions. Steffi, hello. Denise from New Jersey, got you live. Stopped IF but back. Feeling good. Yep, good for you. It's easy to come back once you kind of have that experience, for sure. Denise, I'm 54 and been doing IF for a couple of months and feel great. Wish I knew about this years ago. Yeah, Denise, that's how I feel too. Definitely feel the same way. Well, the good thing about how we feel about that as well, about I wish we knew about this years ago, is we really need to start paying this experience forward. And this is what I love about this community here, is your willingness to share. Your willingness to share will help someone else understand and believe that this can be something great for them. And like I shared with what we're doing with our own kids here, that they're not going to wish they knew about this years ago. They're living it today and they're living it well. And we really do teach our kids to think for themselves when it comes to food. And we ask them all the time, I don't know, give it a try. How are you going to feel after that? And they've really learned how to make really good, solid nutritional decisions for themselves based on how they feel. And for my son, who's 17, about to be 18, going off to college, for him, it's how he looks too. And that's an important thing, because once we realize that the decisions that we make, both nutritionally and fitness-wise, can be the deciding factor on how we look, that's something that we need to take seriously and not think about it as being simplified or what's the other word I'm looking for? It doesn't even have to be ego driven. Everyone wants to look their best. And when we realize that poor nutritional choices can take that right away from us, and that really good nutritional choices can give that right back to us, that's when we really have got to that point of being healed. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to look your best. So make nutritional choices that are going to get you there. Rhonda, for us coffee drinkers, can I have cream in my coffee during my fasting time? If your goal is to clean fast, no. You really want to get to that point of a deep clean fast, especially if you're going through the healing phases and you're really trying to get your body to a fat and keto adaptive state. Black coffee is the best option for that, and so I always say give it a try. And what most women are finding when they ditch their coffee creamer and their stevia and all the other morning rituals that we've become so accustomed to, that they realize that they didn't really need them in the first place. They were sort of a crutch for them. And the same thing goes with black coffee. Once you really understand what black coffee can do for you and you experience the energized sense of calm, black coffee is something that a lot of women are learning to crave, actually, and they miss it when they don't have it. So I would say if you're clean fasting and you're really trying to heal yourself, I would go black coffee for a while and see how you do with that. And then you can play with it after that, for sure. Okay, thank you so much for jumping on with me. I hope for those of you, and I was this woman myself, I was a desperate dieter for many, many years, doing extreme things and crazy things that didn't make sense with time restrictions and not thinking for myself and eliminating all the fun things in my life. And those days are over for me. And now I am determined to live my best life. And the decisions that I make today are always based on how I want to look and feel while living my most authentic life. And I hope that those are the ways that you're making decisions for yourself as well. If you're interested in our intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course, our next one starts June 9th. Registration is open. If you have completed one of my courses and you're interested in the Fasting, Feasting, and Fitness Level 2 course, registration is still open for that. We actually have an email that should be going out today with a personal invitation to past course members to jump in with us for the F3 course. I have some special surprises on board for you guys who are going to be jumping into that F3 course with us. So make sure you check out the email that you received today. Some good information in there for you as well. So no more diet desperation, only diet determination. Use the 4 tips that I shared with you today, and I promise you, you will get there. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you will join me on, I think we're doing a live on Friday. It's a busy week for us here. We have company coming into town tomorrow. Our amazing son is graduating from high school on Saturday, so we have another fun-filled weekend with family and friends. So we might be a little bit hit or miss this weekend, but we'll catch you next Friday if we don't make it live this Friday. And then we're taking you to Mexico with us next week. We're leaving for Mexico for a week-long vacation, and as always, we're bringing all of our social media friends with us to go on vacation so we can show you how we fast, feast, and stay fit while we are vacationing. Have a super fantastic Wednesday, and I will see you guys on social media somewhere over the next couple of days.